a storm, a number of sports cancellations, and a high-flying high school are all featured today on CNN 10. I'm Carl Azus, and Fridays are awesome. First up, the Republican National Convention has wrapped up and officially nominated incumbent President Donald Trump for another term in office. His running mate, incumbent Vice President Mike Pence, was officially nominated on Wednesday night. Like the Democratic National Convention the week before, the Republican event took place over 4 days, and it was more virtual than usual thanks to the social distancing guidelines of the coronavirus pandemic. But 6 delegates from each state and territory, for a total of 336 people, did attend the event's kickoff Monday in Charlotte, North Carolina. President Trump and Vice President Pence were there as well. Speakers this week have included current and former political leaders, supporters of the president and his policies, with the goal of highlighting President Trump as the best choice for voters in 2020 and speaking out against his political rival, Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden. In that way, the event was a direct opposite to what the Democrats did last week. One thing both parties are hoping for from their conventions is a bump in the polls, a jolt of voter support for their candidate. The voters get their say in the presidential election on November 3rd.
Now look, this roof. The roof there, that's a foam roof coming down. You can see it some on the ground there, just raining down here in Lake Charles.
This is hitting in the dark of night, and that is why the storm is particularly dangerous, because people have the potential to get woken up if they did not evacuate and have to deal with what is actually occurring outside.
You're going to hear ranges of storm surge that we haven't heard in Louisiana since Hurricane Audrey in 1957. You're going to hear the word unsurvivable to describe the storm surge that we are expecting.
At dawn on Thursday morning, along the border between Louisiana and Texas, it looked like Laura's storm surge wasn't as bad as forecasters predicted. A lot of the damage appeared to have been caused by the hurricane's powerful winds. Louisiana's governor says the storm didn't bring absolute catastrophic damage to his state, but that it still caused a lot of destruction and the deaths of several people. Officials in Texas said emergency crews were working at the border to see if anyone needed help and to see how bad the flooding damage was. They say the evacuation orders saved lives. The storm caused a fire at a chemical plant near Lake Charles, Louisiana, and the coronavirus pandemic created a social distancing challenge for shelters. Officials were moving people to motel and hotel rooms to try to limit the spread of COVID-19. There have been some national ripple effects following a shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin. On Sunday, a man named Jacob Blake was shot several times by police during some sort of dispute. We don't know exactly what happened. There are differing accounts from witnesses and officials, and the Wisconsin Department of Justice is currently investigating. Blake survived the shooting and is currently in the hospital. The incident has become part of the widespread civil unrest taking place in America. Protests, marches, and calls for changes have been made in several cities for months. They've followed controversial encounters between police and African American civilians. Some of the demonstrations have been peaceful. Some have been violent, with cars and buildings being burned and stores being looted. In June, President Trump signed an executive order that concerned policing in America. Its goals were to maintain the administration's support of police while also establishing a database of police misconduct and laying out guidelines concerning the use of force, as well as policing techniques meant to calm down difficult situations. But critics have said more needs to be done to address police-related issues. And on Wednesday, following the shooting of Jacob Blake in Wisconsin, the Milwaukee Bucks of the National Basketball Association protested by boycotting their playoff game against the Orlando Magic. That led to the NBA postponing several different playoff games on Wednesday and Thursday. There were also postponements of certain games in the Women's National Basketball Association, Major League Baseball, and Major League Soccer. 10-second trivia. Where would you most likely find a Super Tucano? In a restaurant, in a rainforest, on a racetrack, or on a runway? The A-29 Super Tucano is a light attack aircraft used by the military. Students literally earn their wings at New York City's Aviation High School. Like many schools, it's currently working on plans to reopen during the pandemic. And when it does, students will resume taking classes in an actual airplane hangar. They'll resume working on actual airplanes. From the classroom to the sky, the school is pretty fly.
At Aviation High School, we take all your regular academic classes, English, social studies, physical education, but then also we have ground operations, carburetors, magnetos, jet engines. This airplane behind me is my classroom every day. I'm Martin Stenchuk, and I'm a student at Aviation High School, and I currently go to class at JFK Airport.
Aviation High School is a public New York City high school. Students at Aviation High School spend 4 to 5 years working on repairing airplanes, and in the process, they get their licensing to work in the industry from the Federal Aviation Administration. We have a hangar on site in our main building where we have 17 aircraft. We've been teaching students for 81 years to work in the aviation industry. We're very proud to be the school that certifies some of the most mechanics in the country.
The responsibility of an aircraft mechanic is huge. I have to ensure that every single bolt, every single screw, every single piece of wire is safely secured on that aircraft, prevent anything from happening while it's in the air. When we sign off any part, it's basically our signature that's allowing the airplane to get into the sky, and our signature is worth gold. We are letting over 100 people on the ground get into the sky and get to their destination. I like working with my hands, I like getting out in the world. I love seeing the work that I put in fly in the air.
Earning a perfect 10 out of 10 today, it's morning rush hour in Perth, Western Australia. You go to have a look at a traffic camera to see how your commute's shaping up, and it's photobombed by a Corella bird. The animal is native to Australia, it's not native to traffic cameras, and this one didn't just hang out and block the shot. It perched, played, preened, and posed, at least until another cockatoo came and stopped the show. He wasn't just a cockatoo, he was cocky too, and while he parroted his bill for you, he blocked the shot up too. Was he on the crest of beaking news without words? If so, this traffic report's on the wing and for the birds. Woo! Tweet. I'm Carl Azus for CNN 10. We've got Champlin Park High School watching today from Champlin, Minnesota. Thank you for commenting on our YouTube channel.